Hello and welcome to the first redo ranking of my channel. Yes, indeed. I decided to maybe some of these need to be updated, especially with bands that are still going on and as they release new stuff. Because not only did they release their whatever number album this is, but here we are. They also released this little number. So we'll be including both of these in this updated ranking. I will also be talking about the Saint Cecilia EP, which I totally forgot about the first time around. So we will have 3 new things to talk about in this video. And who knows? Maybe some of these changed their spots. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. One of them definitely did. So very much different from my other video. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right back into the Foo Fighters once again with Still in Last Place album. Yeah, Sonic Highways is still just very whatever. I mean, there are some good moments, like I still really like Something for Nothing. The beginning of Outside is probably their best song intro they've ever done. It sounds so damn good, and it makes it sound like it's going to be a different song than what it actually turns out to be. And I Am a River is a fantastic closer. The way they transition from Subterranean into this song is fantastic. But Subterranean, the song itself, is easily the worst song on here. Totally forgettable. Songs like Congregation and Feast and the Famine are okay. But then you have the other songs like In the Clear, and I think that's all of them. If I forget one, well, this shows how memorable this one is. But what I said the first time still applies. I think the making of this album is far more interesting than the final product itself. Okay, then we have the free EP, Saint Cecilia, up next, and this one's a sleeper. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but this is one that's forgotten about, but it's actually pretty damn solid. Save Your Breath is obviously the best song on here. That one goes super ham. Sean is kind of fun with when he chants like Sean. Never Ending Sigh slaps too. There's a solid half of this thing that's like really damn good. And I should listen to it more. Everyone should listen to this EP more because for a free EP, it's pretty good. And up next, we have One by One, the album where everything kind of went to shit. But I think the beginning of it and the ending of it is pretty damn good, but the middle chunk, not so much. Like Overdrive, Burn Away, and Come Back, I think, are much better than people give them credit for, especially Come Back. I did just talk about this song when I did the video, when I talked about The Teacher on the new album, where, like, when it has that acoustic break in the song, and I always thought, like, we would never get anything like that again. Just because every song was always just like a verse, chorus, sometimes a solo, sometimes a bridge. Sometimes the bridge is like 10 seconds long in the case of Making a Fire. But yeah, I just wish they did more stuff like this. Going against what everyone thinks and having this whole break section that's actually really damn good. Anyway, of course we have All My Life. That's the big standout. And it also has my personal favorite song of the Foo Fighters, Times Like These, which is really the only thing holding this album back from last place. It's a very muddy sounding album. Like, when you go through a few songs, it's okay, but when you go through the whole thing, it really kind of starts to get draining. The Double Discer In Your Honor is coming up next, and I always thought this had one of the greatest album intros of all time. The title track is such a good hype song. I think they should open up every single live show with that song. It's such a hype builder. The very echoey descending riff that sounds like it's being played in a stadium. Like the screaming vocals. Can you hear me? That's when the crowd goes fucking crazy and shit. And then like this kind of this 16th note drum going down the toms and stuff. And then like the tapping riff that comes in. the pause, the scream back into it, and then it kicks right back into No Way Back. Fantastic opener to this album. And then, of course, we go from there into Best of You, which is really the only song they even remember off this album. But yeah, it's not all great. A lot of the middle is pretty whatever, especially when you get to songs like Free Me and Resolve. But then it ends with End Over End, which is equally as underrated as Comeback and Let It Die. We'll get to that one soon enough. But Let It Die, End Over End, and Comeback, I think, are like their three most underrated songs ever. And then disc 2, with all the acoustic stuff, is just kind of more okay things. I think I actually like this one a little less than the first time I did this video. But yeah, Friend of a Friend was always my favorite on disc 2. I just really like the way it was played and sung. It's very simple. It's like the same riff the whole time, but it's okay. Sometimes it's fine. And then Over and Out is also very good. So yeah, a lot of highs, but a big chunk of like mids on this album. Concrete Gold is the exact same story as the first time I did this, where like the first solid 7 tracks are all really great. And then by the time you get to the last few, it's just so average. You know, Run is still nice and heavy, one of their heaviest songs they've ever done. Make It Right is a very unique sounding song. Sky is a Neighborhood gets a little repetitive, but it is kind of fun to sing along to that one. And then Arrows is the absolute GOAT on this record. But yeah, and then we get to the last 4 tracks, like Happy Ever After and Sunday Rain are okay. The line in the title track aren't really super great. Like most of this album I would only ever hear like with a full run through. I would not go out of my way to listen to a lot of these songs, with the exception of Arrows. All right, next up we have this thing that shouldn't exist, but I'm so glad it does. I can't believe this is a real thing. And I talked about this album before, and basically what I said was, I think it's best when you can't tell it's just Dave Grohl singing. Like, Encino, March of the Insane, and the last track, whatever it's called, are the best songs. But then when you get to like Angel with Severed Wings and The Sweet Abyss, where you can really clearly tell it's just Dave Grohl just being a little heavier, I don't think it works nearly as well. But when it goes like hard, it hits really hard. And now we have Taylor's last blowout with Medicine at Midnight, an album that a lot of people don't like, and I get it. It's a party album, but besides a few tracks that drag, like Shame Shame especially, that song just is so out of place on this album. I can't even believe that, first of all, it's even on here, and second of all, that was the lead single off this thing. Unreal. It's the exact same thing, the entire song, and it really drags pretty hard. And the title track, I don't like that much either. But everything else, man, it's just upbeat and really fun to listen to. Making a Fire, No Son of Mine, Holding Poisons, Love Dies Young, even a song like Chasing Birds, which I really wish came out when I was still going to school in the city. That would have been a really nice song to hear. But yeah, a lot of songs on here slap really hard. I get it if you don't like it, but it really works for me. And now we have the newest, but here we are. A very, very solid comeback for the band, who has put out a few divisive albums, to say the least. This is a nice return to form, kind of wiping the slate clean. I still really like Rescued, Underused, a fantastic song. Hearing Voices is another really great song, especially when you get to the end bit where it kind of morphs into sounding like you're just in the studio with him singing along. The build-up and the chorus and Nothing at All goes really damn ham. The solo in Beyond Me is great. The Teacher is still my favorite song, especially with the whole break section. Like the last couple minutes of that song is fantastic, and Rest is also very good. And I really like the last line of that song. That hit me really well. We get a few slow songs like The Glass and Beyond Me, which are kind of okay, but for the most part, this album does have a lot of really great moments and a welcome addition to this long list of albums. And the biggest redemption goes to Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace, which is solid 4 or 5 albums higher than it was the first time. I don't know what my problem with it was before, but I think it's really good. Entire beginning of it is fantastic. Of course, we kick off with The Pretender, and like I mentioned earlier, Let It Die is probably their single most underrated song they have. Erase Replace is pretty good, and then Come Alive is great, and then Road to Ruin is fantastic. The swing feel of Summer's End is really awesome. Really like the chorus in that song. And then the Ballad of the Battle Thing, whatever, was a pretty cool interlude track, which that never really happens at all. And then I thought Statues straight up sounded like something the Beatles would write. So yeah, very, very few low points on this album, and yeah, just more really good stuff. And the first album is still holds up as one of their best. Like, the whole first 5 tracks slay so damn hard. This Is a Call, I'll Stick Around. Nice, fun, energetic songs. Big Me is a little clean, very short, very simple, but is equally as memorable as everything else. And then Alone, Easy Target, and Good Grief, both really solid songs as well. There are a lot of songs on here, and not all of them are super fantastic, but yeah, those first 5, and then also For All the Cows is a very fun song. So, a lot of heavy stuff on here. Some of their most memorable songs, half of it is kind of okay, but there are 14 songs on here, so that's kind of to be expected. And then, of course, we have everyone on the planet's favorite album, The Color and the Shape. Although, yeah, no, sorry. Just because it has Everlong and Monkey Wrench and My Hero doesn't automatically make it number 1. Sorry. However, there are some other really good songs on here. We have My Poor Brain. The chorus in that song is very fun. It's a very, bouncy riff. See You was always a very cool song. It's a little jazzy and whatnot. And then songs like Enough Space and Wind Up are pretty heavy and pretty sick. And then When February Stars drops, it gets really good. Walking After You is one of these slow songs that I really like. And then New Way Home has got to have their longest build-up ever. And then that song also gets crazy heavy. So there are a lot of great moments, great songs on here. But there are other albums that just have even more great songs. So still one of the best, but not the best. Man, these first couple albums just got better and better. I just think every single one of these first 3 just keeps getting better. And then one by one just crumbles on itself. But that's okay, because Nothing Left to Lose is still just a really damn near perfect album. Like, Livin' Skin is the only song I don't really like. Everything else, it's like some of their unique songs in their whole catalog. Like, Stacked Actors is probably their heaviest song they've ever done. Just this super punk verse, or the intro into a little wavy verses, and then into the chorus. Man, that is such a good song. Learn to Fly also really stands out amongst their giant catalog of hits. And then we have Generator and Breakout, which I always loved. Generator is underrated. Breakout people know, but Generator, overlooked song right there. And then to the clean hits like Aurora and Ain't It the Life. Just really a really full experience album. There's the heaviest shit, there's the cleanest shit, there's the most unique shit. And then not to mention Next Year and MIA, which both are equally as kick-ass. This should be number one. I thought this was, for a long time, their absolute GOAT album, and I was like, man, this was their prime right here, but no, it was not their prime. It took them a long time to get there, but when they fucking did, man. You get shit like Wasting Light, still the absolute GOAT album. Kind of like Nothing Left to Lose, damn near perfect. The only song I can live without on here is Miss the Misery. That one I always forget about, but everything else, man. Not only is it easily my favorite Foo Fighters album, but it also happens to be my 5th favorite album of all time. So, naturally, it's Gravitation number 1 automatically, and I do have the vinyl of it, but I forgot to bring it, so oh well. This is the album that brought Pat Smear back after, really, I thought he was in the band a long time before this, but no, this was the first time he came back since Color and the Shape, which is fucking crazy. So they got 3 guitars blaring on this thing, super garage-ish sounding album, and that whole video of them playing the whole album in like their studio space, man, I think every band needs to do that all the time with every single one of their albums. From the beginning, you got Bridge Burning, which explodes so damn hard into the verse. Rope, which is one of their coolest songs ever. It's like super, like there's a lot of different riffs going on at the same time. That one's really awesome. Dear Rosemary, another damn fine song. Fucking White Limo is just them going ham. Love the Lemmy in the limo in the fucking music video. Excellent. Arlandria has a super catchy chorus. Love the 3 China hits. It's awesome. These Days is just kind of one of their classic songs now. And then, yeah, Back and Forth and Matter of Time are okay. And then Miss the Misery is pretty whatever. But then we get to I Should Have Known, which is a super somber song. Bringing in Chris Novoselic to do one of the verses. And then we end with Walk, another classic just like These Days. Just, man, damn near every second on this album is perfect, and I love it. I love it so much that I would take it. I would only take 4 albums in existence over it, so that's how good this one is. But yeah, thanks for tuning in once again to a Foo Fighters ranking video. This is definitely not the first one I'm going to be redoing. I already have another one planned. So, and we're in the middle of Dad Rock month, so I'm about to shoot that video right after I do this one. So, keep a lookout for that. And let's just say this is not the end of doing Dave Grohl projects. So, that's who's next. I'll see you next time.